What's going on, y'all? It's Masta, co-founder at HipHopSuccessTV, along with fellow co-founder Coach Tony Brace,
Blessings.
here for a new and special webisode of the RoundTable. We're going to be talking about when will America take gun violence seriously. As everyone knows, pretty much around the world, within the last 24 hours, there was a gunman, Stephen Paddock, I believe his name was. Went ahead and had an automatic rifle out in Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada, and he started shooting into a crowd of about a couple thousand people at a country music festival, an annual one, so it's every year. And mind you, that festival is not even one of the largest at Las Vegas. That was actually a smaller venue. And, he went ahead and committed, let's be clear, this was a terrorist attack, first and foremost. And, he took the lives of over 50. I'm not sure if it's 60 people now. Mind you, this has happened within the last 24 hours. So if anybody knows any information that's solid, please post it in the comments because, obviously, more details are filling in. I don't know the whole spectrum. More information on what happened is coming in as we speak. And then also, first, we just want to send our condolences to the victims, as well as everyone that's fighting for their lives right now in the ERs and ICUs at hospitals. And then also special shout out to the first responders out there. The police, firefighters, ambulances, ETs, and then also the SWAT teams. I mean, you think about it, apparently from eyes on the ground, firsthand reports, they said the gunfire went off for about 10 minutes of automatic rounds just getting, just spraying all over the place from apparently the 32nd floor. And, the fact that within 15 minutes of everything, the police were able to locate the shooter, lock everything down on the Mandalay Bay, and then go ahead and neutralize the shooter. Now, apparently, the shooter did take his own life. So he did self-terminate. I mean, I know there was reports whether they actually, killed him or if he actually killed himself before they got there. The details are still coming out. But in the end, the terrorist was neutralized. But at any rate, it's still a sad scenario given the fact that we have, I don't know how many mass murders that have happened in this country, and gun laws. America is one of the Second Amendment under freedom of speech, which we were just talking about last week, is the right to bear arms. I am a military veteran. I'm also an advocate for the right to bear arms. I mean, right when this event happened, now everybody online is, talking about gun reform, gun law reform. People are talking about, mental health issues, people who own guns who are mentally unstable. There's a lot of conversations going on right now. So we wanted to bring a special roundtable just impromptu so that everybody can have a platform to speak on how they feel. And so my first question to our audience. Well, first, Coach, I'd like to get your take on what happened, and then we'll go ahead to the viewers. We have a couple of viewers in right now. Shout out to y'all. Thank you for joining us. And so, Coach, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I just want to have a moment of silence. I happen to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. I've called Las Vegas, Nevada my home for over 20 years. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. So half of my life, I came to Las Vegas in 1995 when I was a teenager. So nevertheless, a moment of silence for the fallen victims, the injured. And we'll go ahead and do that now. So yeah, so normally we do a roundtable once a week, but obviously this is something that has hit the home front because HipHopSuccess.tv, our corporate office, happens to be in Las Vegas, Nevada. When we launched our company, we launched it from the Great Silver State for a variety of different reasons. And with that being said, you know, I was actually asleep last night about maybe 10:30, 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and my wife woke me up about the news. So she was, you know, shocked, not sure on what was going on, and she thought it was important enough to wake me up. So I don't have a lot of data, if you will. You know, I've been listening to various outlets, various media outlets, AM radio, the internet, all that sort of stuff. So I don't have all the facts here. But the topic at hand that we're going to be dealing with is, will America take gun violence seriously? So, you know, you have many different viewpoints on this topic. Me, myself, I am a gun owner. I believe in my constitutional rights and the rights to bear arms. But I'm also a reasonable, I would like to think that I'm a reasonable and rational person. So, you know, that's all that I have to say right now, man. You know, I'm at a loss for words, man. I'm really shocked. You know, I was out and about today for business, and I rode, meaning I was driving on the highway, you know, less than a half a mile from that location. So a lot of the stuff is still blocked off on the South Las Vegas Strip, that area, if you're familiar, by the Las Vegas sign, essentially from southbound Tropicana all the way down to Russell Road, if you're familiar with the area. If you're not, you can pull that up on your Google Maps.
I'm very familiar with the Las Vegas area. I was actually living out there right near you, Coach, right near our headquarters. And, you know, I was doing Uber. I've driven all around Vegas. It's really unreal that I was just there. You guys are there. Called my family, hit up you guys, just making sure everybody was safe. I mean, you know, it's just a crazy time when we talk about terrorism and the way people are finding more creative ways to cause this terror and inflict harm and violence against innocent civilians. Getting into the first question that I want to ask the audience is, do you all think that America needs stricter gun laws? We'll just start with that. Do you think we need stricter gun laws than they already are? I mean, when I heard that, I mean, it didn't take real long for me to realize, I'm sure everyone that was an automatic rifle going off. You know, I haven't heard firepower like that since I was in Afghanistan. That's not normal for people to be firing off those kind of rounds, just running around. Shout out to Cody Floyd, another veteran. You know, Cody, definitely let us know how you guys feel. Shout out to Roland, regular viewer. I know Roland's a cousin of mine. You know, he's a avid gun owner, responsible. But hey, you know, I mean, let's talk here, guys. Like, you know, I know we're all, you know, gun advocates, some of us, but I'm not gonna say all, but some. But like, where's the line? In the comments, let us know. Do you think there should be stricter gun laws? You know, apparently he had a modified rifle or bolt device that could allow him to pull the trigger more rapidly, almost in an automatic fashion. The details are coming out for the weapons. Let me, I know I took some, I saw an article where I was, let's see, where are we at? Yeah, so let's see. They said Stephen Paddock had 4 Daniel Defense DD-M4 rifles, 3 FN-15s, and other rifles made by the brand Sig Sauer. They said he had up to 19 rifles in his room, including one with a modified legal rapid fire device, which was like the little bolt thing that I was explaining earlier, that allows you to pull at a rapid rate. Now, when we talk about automatic rifles, and we talk about stricter gun laws. Oh, okay. Cody Floyd has a thought. He said, in my opinion, there is a difference in believing in the right to bear arms versus having a doomsday arsenal. Exactly. I was just about to speak on that because this man had 19 rifles in his room. Also, let me go ahead and read. This was according to the LA Times, by the way. I know they said something about. They said, quote from the LA Times, authorities said that Paddock had used as many as 10 suitcases to transport the arsenal to his room at the Mandalay Bay and had smashed open the room windows with a hammer-like device. Because, you know, as you know, Coach, in the casinos, those windows are very, very fortified. Like, you know, you're not just going to take a chair and smash those windows open. So obviously he had something. This man knew what he was doing. And the fact that he had that much ammo, they also are doing more reports. Quote, they said investigators also found more weapons at his home and are now working to track down all his gun transactions, including some at Nevada gun shows. Records show that Paddock had owned at least 30 guns at one time or another. So when Cody just explained the doomsday arsenal, 30 weapons, like, you know, I mean, I have no problem with being prepared for things. But when we talk about the limits in ammunition, and then the types of weapons that civilians can get their hands on, like this guy, apparently to purchase and own, correct me if I'm wrong, community, hip hop success community, to own an automatic rifle, you have to have, I believe, a class 3 gun license or some sort. And then apparently there's some other rule where the gun has to be at least 30 years old as an automatic weapon in order to own it. It can't be any newer than 30 years or some crap. I don't know.
But there's already some policies in place in terms of laws, right?
Yes, and they I heard, I need to look it up too. In Las Vegas, apparently you can walk around with a machine gun. I believe that's a law there. I mean, it's a very
we're an open carry state, like
absolutely
Arizona and many others. I haven't seen people walking around with AR-15s, but I would think that you can open carry.
I've seen in Las Vegas in a Walmart, one person had a shotgun in a Walmart strapped to his chest. In the same day, I saw someone, you know, obviously with a Magnum to their waist. Another one somebody had a Glock on their right hip, holstered, of course. But, you know, right to bear arms, that's fine. But, you know, when we start talking about automatic weapons, I mean, this rifle that he modified, I mean, this is like, you know, battlefield type artillery. I mean, you know, this is terrifying video I was watching. I mean, this man was spraying. He was spraying everywhere. And then I heard some conversations of how can he be so accurate with a weapon like that? It's got to be good training or whatever. This is a high-powered weapon. You don't got to aim too hard to hit people, you know, in a crowd of thousands of people. Roland Hilliard said no need for civilians to have assault rifles, in my opinion. If it's a semi-auto
or fully, because I think fully has been off the books without exception to the special license, I believe, since 1986. So anybody in the community that's got quick access to the internet, of course, you can fact check that, but I think that's been on the record since 1986.
And I do believe there is a law or a bill trying to be passed today. I think it was today, yesterday, or tomorrow about the silencers. If anybody knows anything about the silencers, okay, Roland said both semi and full. Okay, yeah, I mean, you know, single rounds, man. I mean, anything faster than a clack clack, you know, I mean, civilians shouldn't be able to have that. Anything close to automatic, because that increases the amount of damage someone can do in a shorter period of time. I mean, you know, stuff like that matters when it comes to minutes and how many people you can take out and hurt. Roland said, no need. These guns are only developed to kill people.
Okay, let me ask you this. You know, okay. I always like to get to the root of the cause. So let's use an example of a tree, right? A tree has roots. It has the body. What do we call the body? The bark. Do we call the body the bark? then we have the branches, and then we have the leaves, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
The root of the problem is not the gun itself. The root of the problem is the human psychology.
I agree.
Let's keep it 100. I'm an alpha male. I was born this way. So I have a lot of alpha male energy now. Over the years, I've matured and I've practiced on my chi and those sort of things. But the biggest predator on planet Earth, I will repeat, the biggest predator on planet Earth is a human male. Am I wrong or am I right?
Yeah, we're at the top of the food chain.
We cause the most destruction, right? Okay. So my question is, the root is the human male, the human psychology that we're dealing with, not the gun, because as we've seen in terror attacks overseas, for sure, there may have been some on the homeland. People can take a vehicle. A nut right now can go rent a U-Haul vehicle, the biggest one that they have. I don't know if it's a 25-footer, whatever the case may be. Fill that thing up with whatever and plow people over. Now, should the U-Haul truck be limited to 30 miles an hour, or should it stay where it's at if it has the capacity to do 90 miles per hour? That's what I want to ask the audience. Of course, I respect everyone's opinion, but I really want to understand the root of everybody's thinking that is against guns, whether it's semi-automatic or fully automatic, which, by the way, I agree with the fully automatic, but I just want to hear different perspectives on the root cause.
If anyone would like to call in and answer Coach's question, the number is 725-222-8144. Cody said, what about the gun sales? What about the gun resales? I lost my best friend at 19 because his roommate purchased a weapon from an older man without any forms or ID checks or anything really. I'm against all guns.
Now, the resale policy, I know a little something about that needs to be tightened up because in different states, that is a fact.
Right. Now, I've heard this argument about the truck and people getting in the truck and mowing people down. What's the difference between a vehicle and a weapon? But let's look at other countries. Some countries that don't really do the whole gun thing, they have lower casualties. America, there's guns everywhere. Now, I'm not saying, it's the Second Amendment. Everybody has the right, barring any legal issues. They can have the right to own a gun or several guns. But where is the limit? Where's the limit on ammunition? Where is the limit on how many weapons you can actually own? Because we have countries that are very safe and don't have a lot of casualties or even gun issues because guns aren't running rampant. You see what I'm saying? When you look at America, it's like guns are this gun issue. It's a disease.
It's part of our culture, man. Let's be honest.
Violence is in America's DNA. It is in our DNA. That's unanimous. Racism, violence, capitalism, all a part of America's DNA.
And I don't want to interrupt your flow, but I have to say again, when we're dealing with the root cause, it all comes back to the human mind, not the creation or the manifestation of what we created. We're not at the point yet where AI, artificial intelligence, is taking over and causing harm. We're doing this to each other. So I hear what you're saying. And I agree that there needs to be reasonable measures. But when you say, let's look at other countries, we got to compare apples to apples. America is unique, man. We are a violent nation. We are a nation that has the most people in prisons. So there's a lot of things that are tied to what's going on in America, not just some deranged idiot that is either insane or has a motive or some other alternative reasons why this happened.
Well, okay. Well, until society gets its own humanity back in America, we have to do things to at least slow down what's going on, like not letting people get access to automatic weapons. I mean, we already know there's a lot of unstable people out there. We haven't even got to the issue of mental illness in this country, but I think if we could slow down the rate at which these terrorists, this is homegrown terrorism. And then also with mental issues, we at least if we get tighter on people getting a hold of automatic weapons that are mentally unstable, it'll at least slow down the amount of damage they do. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
Jesus, what if these first responders didn't respond as quick as they did? There could have been over 200 deaths,
Yes,
300.
sir.
Roland said Australia tightened their gun laws 20 years ago, and it's working for them. I mean, I know you said apples to apples. I'm just saying that is a hey. I'm just saying if that's a part of the art. I mean, it supports.
Hey, it definitely supports. Now, again, I'm going to go back to the root cause, the psychology, because if that is accurate, which I'm going to say it's accurate, kudos to Australia. But I can give you an example of another nation, Venezuela, which has a zero gun policy in the country of Venezuela, and they have one of the highest murder capitals in the world. You see what I'm saying? So no guns, civilians are not allowed to have guns, citizens, yet they have the highest murder rate in the world. And it's because of the human beings that are behind the guns. That's my point.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Are we back? Are we back?
Yeah, we are back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what happened. Hopefully, Facebook is not opposed to us having this conversation.
Yeah, freedom of speech. Facebook. I see over here talking. We were talking about freedom of speech last week.
Man,
now we're talking about the Second Amendment, and y'all trying to throw us off, man. Hey, guys, thanks for continuing to tune in. Sorry about that. Thanks, success, hip hop success community. But yeah, Coach.
But before we got interrupted, we were talking about Australia because Roland made a great point, but I had to counter that with another country. And again, it goes back to the root cause, which is the human being.
All right. Do you see any of the other comments? We've had several comments come in. You know, Cody said that's a good point. He said a lot of built tension and uneasy minds in this country. Shout out to Harry Williams Jr. for joining us. He said, thank God they ordered extra officers for the concert. My boy Steve said a truck is not designed, not intended to kill. A gun, you know, is it designed to kill? Is it designed to protect? I mean, what is the definition? You see what I'm saying?
There we go.
A truck is designed to transport. It's designed to carry things.
Or we could say an airplane. You were in the Air Force. What is an airplane designed to do?
Carry cargo.
Carry cargo.
And apparently people can run into buildings too. You know what I mean? So if someone, just like goes back into what Coach is saying, if someone's going to carry out an act and their mind is set to it, they will find any means to do it. So it's a mental issue. I mean, like I said before last week, me and Coach were explaining. I mean, America is literally having an identity crisis right now. There's a lot of stuff going on.
We would love for people to call in, by the way.
Absolutely.
If you want to have an opportunity to call in and express yourself, the lines are open now at 725-222-8144. Again, I am Coach Tony Brace. I'm just one man with an opinion. But again, anytime I'm looking to come up with a solution, I'm always looking to examine the root cause and effect, simple principle.
What is it going to take to get any kind of reform? Because obviously when we talk about money in the NRA, I mean, we're talking about millions, maybe billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? NRA has a whole lot of money to throw into campaigns to fund campaigns for candidates that are running and are Second Amendment, gun toters, or just ones that are huge Second Amendment right to bear arms advocates. The NRA is obviously going to flow money in their direction so that they can help pass certain laws. But I mean, when are we going to have? Yeah, Cody said NRA is so powerful. They're very powerful. What after Roland said that too. Shout out to Roland. He was like, I mean, after Sandy Hook, everything that happened at Sandy Hook, if all those children got gunned down and nothing changed with gun laws getting stricter or some sort of modification, then there is no optimism for anything changing. I mean, this is just another asterisk or stat that's being put on mass murders. I mean, obviously it tops the others, but I mean, Sandy Hook was just as worse, if not worse, and what is it going to take? Multiple bodies, multiple deaths, multiple injuries, yet, and that's interesting that Bill O'Reilly, he said something about, what happened in Vegas is the price for freedom. And I had to think about what he said for a second, because I'm assuming he's saying that because we have the freedom to own weapons, this is just collateral damage of that right. I mean, what do you think he means by that?
That's a great question. I mean, I would have to ask him the question himself. But again, when you're dealing with a simple principle, cause and effect, right? There's always going to be some collateral damage repercussions for anything that we engage in, and with any tool, any mechanism that we use, right? Whether the intention is for good or for bad. Now, again, to reiterate my point, am I advocating for reasonable changes to the gun laws, to the gun policies? Yes. What those are, I don't know. I want to hear from you, from the people.
Right.
But just, with that knee-jerk reaction, remove guns, this and that, and various arguments, I'm from the inner city. I seen a lot of gun violence at a young age. I seen friends get shot, and I seen friends pull triggers. You know what I mean? So I know that guns are bad. I was blessed to navigate through those challenges, not getting any type of felonies on my record, and I became a gun owner. And I have guns to protect myself, myself from any intruders in my home. If I decide to carry, because I have a concealed and carry permit, I will do so, because that's my right, and I feel safer. Anytime that I'm carrying, no one ever knows, and because they don't need to know.
Right. And yeah. And I that's your personal property. That's your right. You went through the necessary procedures and protocols to, conceal that weapon. And so and you're a father. So,
yes,
you don't got to explain nothing to me. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't it just affects me a lot because, I went to Virginia Tech. I left a semester before the massacre happened there. The shooter, Cho Sung-Wee, it was from my hometown. I also had several students, classmates that went to my high school that died in that massacre. So these mass murders definitely touch me in a very emotional place, because I'm very, very familiar with the damage that it does during and after the fact, not just the shooter taking lives, but what the families have to go through. The families turn into the biggest gun law reform advocates because they lost loved ones. I mean, I don't blame them. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I'm definitely compassionate, sympathetic, and empathetic. Most definitely.
It's just like, when does it, like, what is it going to take? Like, America has a problem.
Violence, period.
It's violent, period. You're right.
It's in the video games. Come on.
It's in the video games. It's in the justice system. They don't want to.
It's in the
it's all
movies.
kind of things.
The Killer Clowns. We take our kids to see it, and then we all say it's the parents' responsibility. You know, I don't know, man. That's why I'm looking for the people for answers. I am Coach Tony Brace. I'm the hip hop business coach. I focus on business matters, but obviously being a member of society, this will circle back right to me because that's just how it works. So I don't have the answers. I don't think that you have all the answers, Fi. But if we can come together as a community, perhaps we can generate some answers. And if they're good enough, and someone's willing to take the lead, maybe we can send those up to Congress.
Cody Floyd said, "Need some trees and FIFA and calm society down." Yeah, everybody needs a little.
We got that in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's just, if anybody has any solutions from the community, please state them. Feel free to call in 725-222-8144.
We got a live caller.
Oh, cool. Okay.
HipHopSuccessTV, please state your name and the area of the country that you're calling from.
Go on, fellas. Roland from DC area.
Mr. Roland from the DC. Hey, man, we appreciate you checking in. Please go ahead and share with the viewership what's on your mind.
Basically, just want to foot stomp a lot of the stuff y'all said. What Philip said, I've got a few guns myself. Enjoy going to the range, shooting and stuff like that. Got a concealed carry permit out here in Virginia, open carry state, just like y'all in Nevada. But just like Philip was saying, we got a problem. You said it too. We got a problem in America, and to me, the main problem is the amount of guns. Yes, we do have people with all kinds of unstable mental issues and whatnot, but to sit here and just, do nothing as far as gun laws since the Second Amendment came about or whatever, basically, no real changes legislatively since the Second Amendment came about, to me, isn't good enough. Like I said, to Philip in our private thread and stuff, about the tragedy of the Sandy Hook, I don't expect anything to change after last night. If nothing changed after Sandy Hook, nothing major changed after Sandy Hook, so it's just going to be another, I don't know, something to take the mind off of what's going on else in the world. Hurricane relief and all this other stuff that we need to be focused on. Nothing's going to change as far as gun laws. None of the politicians on either side of the aisle are willing to take up that stance. So, because they know that's basically dead on arrival as soon as they start talking about that during election season. So, I don't see anything changing. But in my opinion, what needs to change is the type of weapons that people are allowed to get, the type of weapons that civilians are allowed to get. In my opinion, nobody should be able to have an assault rifle, whether it's semi-automatic or fully automatic. Do I have them in my family? Yes, I do. But now that I'm a little bit older and stuff like that, I'm like, this is a problem. We shouldn't even have these guns. So, for me, like shotguns, handguns, have them in your house for protection. Depending on what you do, day to day, you might want to walk around with it or whatever. That's your right. But, people being able to buy an assault rifle to me is overkill. People, they're going to say, I like to go hunting with it. I like to go, do this and that with it. And then you brought up the example about, somebody can just go get a box truck and run into a crowd, just like what happened, in Paris, I believe. To me, that's what hunting with an assault rifle is. You're taking a gun that's meant to kill a bunch of people, and you're, overkill when you're trying to shoot a deer from 20 yards out. There's rifles that have been developed, 100 years ago that are still good enough for that. So there's no legitimate reason that why anybody should have an assault rifle, or anybody should have an Uzi, or any of that other crazy stuff. So that's my take.
Hey, and we definitely appreciate that. Now, let me ask you this. If you had the power of the pen, what specifically would you change, and what impact do you believe it would have on society?
That's hard. As far as the impact it would have on society, because I don't know. I mean, you can have, one of the greatest, not the greatest, but one of the excuses that people throw out there all the time with gun control is they always want to exploit what's going on in Chicago. They say, Chicago, zero tolerance, there's no guns allowed there, and they still one of the highest murder rates. But what nobody wants to talk about is how the rest of the state and the rest of the states around it don't have these strict gun laws. So it's easy for you to buy a gun. Shoot, I can buy a gun in Virginia, drive over there in the same day and go shoot up the place. So to me, it makes these gun laws need to be consistent throughout the whole country. It shouldn't be a state by state thing. And, certain guns should not be allowed, period, unless you're in the military or on the police force. And you should only be able to have those guns while you're on duty. You should be able to take it back to your house.
Yeah, and I think I'm in alignment with what you brothers are talking about. I definitely think there needs to be some change. But typically how I operate, if I want something to change, I'm always thinking about, okay, what is the maximum impact that I'm looking to get from this change? And I haven't been persuaded by anyone in America, on or off the airways, friends, families, private conversations, law enforcement, etc., on what the best impact will be with that new change. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I didn't use the Chicago argument. When I don't know if it was yourself or somebody else that mentioned Australia, I went to Venezuela because that country has zero tolerance for guns, yet it has the highest murder capital in the world. You see what I'm saying? So when I'm saying,
I'm not.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You got the floor.
I was going to say, I'm not for zero guns whatsoever. I'm harping on certain types of guns. I'm not going anywhere to take my shotgun in or handgun in, so I feel like if I should be able to have it, just for having my stuff around the house and going to the shooting range, anybody else should, in case, like you said earlier, in case somebody decides to jump into my house or whatever. Yeah,
I mean, again, that's why fully autos have been off the books since '86. The only reason why I would say it would be necessary for me to have an assault rifle is if I have to protect myself from a crowd, right? What if something happened and the crowd was trying to engage me? 10 shots might not do the trick. So sometimes you might need a little bit more firepower, if you will. But again, for me, it goes back to the root cause, and it's the individual human beings, right? Just like when we debate about the music, we often say, or some people say that, they're artists and they like to hide. I say they like to hide behind the fact that they are artists. But then I say at the end of the day, you know what? They're artists. Okay, you guys argue about it's their parents' faults, so on and so forth. Well, I'm just arguing on this simple issue, and it's the human minds. It's the individual's responsibility. That's all. But at the end of the day, man, this was another tragedy. In the last, 8 years, how many of these tragedies have we dealt with? It's almost like we're becoming numb to this. But it most definitely hit home for HipHopSuccessTV and myself, because we're right here in Nevada. So as always, Roland, we appreciate your comments. If you have time, please hang in there and continue to comment in the thread. If you have an opportunity, go ahead and share, like, and tag someone that may be interested in this conversation.
All right, will do.
All right, peace and blessings, brother. Take care.
Hey, just want to shout out to Roland for calling in. Avid listener, always got something good to say. Man, I real talk, I agree with Roland. I mean, it's like, dude, automatic weapons, complete ban across the board. Nobody should be able to purchase those anymore. Where is the limit? Well, what's next? Grenade launchers? Oh, they're legal. Oh my gosh! Like, what bazookas? Like, what's good? I mean, where is the limit? I need to protect myself, and what's up? Are we at war? Literally, it's the wild, wild west. It's turning into. We worried about ISIS when we got people over here probably better armed than they are out there. You see what I'm saying? We got terrorists. We already got other terrorist cells and other terrorist organizations. And we got people here who are mentally unstable that have access with the right to bear arms to these insane weapons. There should be a ban on any guns that can be modified, any modifying accessories to weapons, all that stuff, man. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. And I'm sorry, again, I was affected by the Virginia Tech massacre. I had people, classmates that went to my school in high school that attended Virginia Tech and lost their lives to that. So I'm very passionate when it comes to people trying to act like this isn't an issue and that, you know, we can just tiptoe around and say, hey, well, we can try to do this, but this is just the way it is. Or we have a problem. Something has to change across the board. Same thing with what Roland said. You can talk about Chicago all you want. Zero, no gun ban over there. Like, you can't have weapons over there. Yet all the states around it have looser gun laws. You think people ain't going to go across them state lines and then bring them over, which is obviously illegal? Of course they are. So, but that goes into the Republican mentality and state rights, having individual state rights, which brings about that loophole to where people can have a zero tolerance gun zone, yet they can just go to another state where, hey, they're a red state or whatever. They don't, you know, they're loose with the guns. We'll just get them there and bring them back over here. If everybody was consistent in saying no automatic weapons across the board for each state, then maybe we would get somewhere. Because we got to talk about the facts of these weapons. If you have an automatic weapon, the rate at which it fires, you can inflict more damage in a shorter period of time. Now, if you set it to a semi-auto or you set it to just a single shot, they're going to have to try twice as hard, which gives people a bigger opportunity to get away and get to safety. They can inflict less damage in less time. The fact that it is a single shot, it's going to be harder for them to inflict more damage. I'm sorry. But when you have an automatic and people just modifying their guns and just mowing people down, it doesn't matter if they're a good shot or not. It gives them the access and ability to take out multiple people in a short period of time. I don't care how good. It could be special forces. You can mow down 100 people before they come through. And that's where we have to start being practical about how we're going to figure out how we're going to modify these gun laws. This can't continue, yet it still does, which is why I'm an optimist, but at the same time, I'm a realist, and I'm just like, nothing's going to change, because just like we talked about, violence, capitalism, and racism is in America's DNA. I mean, that's the bottom line, you know, and when we talk about capitalism, we talk about the NRA with the millions and billions they have, the fund campaigns, the fund candidates to push these bills and laws. Apparently, like we said earlier, there's some sort of law or bill they're trying to pass to legalize silencers. Why do we need silencers? What civilian needs silencers? Jesus Christ.
That one, that's reasonable. No civilian needs a silencer.
I mean, if you really want to silence, I'm not advocating violence, but, you know, go old school and put a damn potato on the barrel, you know, or some crap like that. But legalizing manufactured silencers? Are you kidding me? Where is the limit? Like I said, bazookas, grenade launchers, what's good? You see what I'm saying? Like, literally, it's turning into a war zone here. Like, and we have this celebrity in chief, Donald Trump. Who knows what's going to happen? It's the freaking Twilight Zone out here. Every damn time you wake up, it's something else going on. And the guy's late to talk about it or late to tweet about it. Half the world already sent its condolences before he freaking mentioned anything about it. So we can throw leadership getting involved with this for the better of us out the window. I know that's not coming. But I'm just at a loss, man. I'm sorry again. It just.
Hey, man, I definitely understand your passion. I understand your feelings. You make a lot of great points. And again, you know, I'm okay with some gun policy changes. Like you said, what civilian or citizen needs a silencer? I don't think anyone needs it. But I think there is justification in use for me, Coach Tony Brace, to have a semi-automatic rifle, and that's something that I want to keep. Now, I want to ask you the same question that I asked Roland. If you had the power of the pen to change a gun law or gun laws, what would it be, and what would be the impact that you think you can achieve from that policy?
Banning all automatic rifles across the board for any state.
They're already banned, except
Well, how
for
are they
people
getting
with,
in?
except for people with certain certifications.
That class 3 license crap, get it out of here.
So you're saying
All
no
of that.
one except for like SWAT and
SWAT purposes and military,
okay.
that's it. And just like Ron said, even police, when you're off duty, you are not walking around with an automatic weapon.
Okay.
It's in the depot.
That's reasonable.
Whatever, keep it in there.
What do you think the impact will be?
At least
For a terrorist. Now, let's keep in mind, a terrorist has some sort of agenda. It's usually a political or a religious agenda. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that. And also, if you're a terrorist cell trying to inflict damage, they know they're not going to have a huge lot of time. So they want to inflict as much damage in the shortest amount of time. Does that make sense? So if we put a complete ban against automatic weapons, at least that decreases the amount of access, whether it's a civilian or an unstable, mentally unfit civilian, veteran, whatever, police officer, whatever. If they don't have that kind of access readily to automatic weapons, that will automatically decrease the rate of damage they can do if they want to just turn up with a weapon. The minute you give them access to automatic weapons, you're going to have what happened yesterday.
Your concern is automatic weapons, right?
Automatic weapons. And modifying all that class 3 license crap, get it the
silencers, all of that. And I'm in agreement. And I'm in agreement with you with that. Okay.
You're coach. You can
check this out though. Again, I want to go back to the root cause, which is the human psychology, because this is going to happen in the future. I said it here, and many people may have said it. You know what's coming next if they get rid of assault rifles and this and that? If a terrorist wants to inflict damage, they're going to inflict damage. We have technology out. We have drones. Okay. So a terrorist, whether it's a lone wolf or whatever, can take a drone, okay, an industrial drone that can carry 20 to 30 pounds, fly it into a venue like that and drop something that can hurt 500 people. Am I right or am I wrong? So then what do we do then? Do we ban drones now? What's next? We're going to keep going and going and going and going and going. The problem is we're a violent country and we live in a fear-based reality. Human beings are nothing but energy personified in the flesh. We create everything.
So you threw a hypothetical out there. What's the solution then, coach? You
know what? The solution is getting to the root cause. I don't know. I don't have those answers yet. And I am throwing out a hypothetical because I believe that's what's coming next. You don't believe that a terrorist will use a drone, a commercial drone to cause destruction? You don't think they're capable and that's going to happen in the future? Look, I'm talking about a $500 drone that you and I can purchase off of Amazon. What could somebody with ill intentions do with a weapon like that, or a toy like that, or whatever you want to call it?
Well, apparently, when they think about these drones, they need to start expanding their creativity and understand that the scope of what we're dealing with and what can inflict damage essentially at some point in time will inflict damage. But I'm a practical person. Okay. This gun thing, we can make a direct impact right now. Ban the automatic weapons, period. Okay.
I agree with you on that.
When we get to that drone thing, God forbid something happens, then we'll get to that point. Maybe we got to ban those. Look, this is about safety. We talk about constitutional rights. We talk about right to bear arms, what we're talking about right now. Last week, it was freedom of speech. I'm talking about safety. When it comes to safety, certain things have to be sacrificed to save lives. If it has to be a ban of automatic weapons, so be it. I'm down with it. You're not going to take all my guns, but the ones that conflict with that law of automatic, absolutely give it up, because I've seen enough. I've been affected by it. I've seen it. We see the damage that it's doing. take it. And some people might disagree with me, but if we can decrease the amount of damage someone can do in a short period of time, that'll have a huge impact in response time for first responders to get there and neutralize terrorists, because it's just ridiculous. Okay. Oh, Alvin Tondra. Shout out to Alvin, twin bro right there. He said, we can't fix the fears that are embedded in our culture, which makes it almost impossible to repair the damaged system we have in place. We are always trying to fix this issue, tragedy after tragedy. Which goes back into what Coach said. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree with you, Coach. I agree. We have a problem.
I'm not saying that we don't do anything. We obviously need to do something. But to what Alvin just stated, I just want us to do some deeper thinking versus the traditional knee-jerk reaction, right? Because we are HipHopSuccess.TV, and we are the platform that we want to say we're looking to raise our level of awareness and consciousness within ourselves and within the culture. So that's why we call this the round table, because it's not about you or I.
Right.
We're not sitting across the table. We're sitting across the cameras, but this is about the community, the circle of community. Great point, Alvin. Let's see. We got another comment from Donald. What did he say?
He said, I've heard this scenario. If a terrorist detonates a car, do we ban cars? It's a slippery slope with no good solution. Okay.
Real talk.
That's cool. But I mean, we can do hypotheticals all day, y'all, but we got to be practical. We can talk knee-jerk reactions, but something got to happen right now. We need a knee-jerk reaction because.
But the hypotheticals are real and proven, and
that proves range and scope of what's possible. You're right. How far does it go? You're right.
But no, I'm saying they've already acted on these things. So when I talk about the drone, that's already happening in other countries.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened in America yet.
We haven't banned planes yet, and look what happened in 9/11.
You see what I'm saying? We got a caller.
Molly Minnie.
HipHopSuccess.TV, please state your name and the area in the country that you're calling from.
This is Alvin Tondra, calling from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Alvin, what's good, man? We appreciate you tuning in to the show. What do you have to say?
Well, first, I just want to acknowledge that I really appreciate and look forward to all the roundtables you guys do a good job bringing up good topics, engaging topics, and just shout out to everyone that's supporting your guys' venture. I watched my brother put it together really well, and y'all are doing just an amazing job with that, and I'm enjoying watching it continue to grow. As far as the topic at hand, it's a touchy subject. Right to bear arms is always a touchy subject. Like I said, it just does seem like we're trying to fix the issue as the tragedies happen. There's only so many fixes we can do at a time, especially with how creative people are getting with attacks. I mean, even from the ground level where the tragedy today happened, from the event itself, everything was fine. Obviously, they can't anticipate, a shooter shooting from that far away. He was almost at the maximum range he could have shot that weapon at. I saw some of that news. They said the only time they even have protocols to remove that whole North Tower or anything is obviously it's the president speaking. Mm-hmm. And I know the sheriff of the local police there was like, we don't have the manpower nor the materials to support that kind of security measures for event to event. And this was a small scale event based on what Vegas is used to.
Yes.
So I do understand the issues that they have with what they have to deal with trying to secure those things. People are just going to figure out ways around it. I do agree. Those automatic weapons shouldn't be able to be purchased by anyone except obviously SWAT or military members active while on duty. I also just had to give a shout out to the local Nevada authorities for how quickly they even managed to neutralize that situation, especially as ad hoc as it was. I mean, it's devastating what happened, but it's actually very remarkable as well how quick they were able to locate the shooter and neutralize him, especially on a just really on the whim. They just figured it out as they went. I really have to commend the local authorities on that. I thought it was handled extremely well. But it's like I said, it's just a tough issue to figure out. It just feels like we're always just waiting for the next tragedy to happen. Unfortunately, it's just what we're used to now.
Absolutely. Great point, Alvin. And yeah, I definitely agree. The Las Vegas Metro Police Department did an excellent job in terms of the response time. Before we jumped on this live stream, I was sharing with Master Fi. I don't know if anyone out there has seen the footage, but there is actual video footage, and we're going to have somebody from our team put it up on our page of a shooter shooting between the fourth and the seventh floor. There's actual video evidence. You can see the muzzle lighting up like a Christmas tree. So that's going to bring a whole nother dynamic versus the 32nd floor. So I wanted to put that information out there. You guys can look that up in real time as we're speaking. But I do know after we end this live stream, we're going to have someone put that on the Hip Hop Success Facebook page, and hopefully they don't take that off. But
actually, I didn't hear about that part of what you just mentioned. I definitely want to check that out if you guys do upload them.
Yeah, so that you should see that.
Check out the news that happened with all the new development.
Doesn't that put an interesting twist? That puts an interesting twist in it now, huh?
About what the brother said. I don't know. I didn't know what your guys' reaction was to what the brother had to say about it. He seemed, I don't know. It was just an odd statement he made. I mean, granted, did it come out of nowhere for him? Did it not? I don't know. It's just the way he responded. It just seemed kind of odd to me. I don't know what your guys' take was on it.
Yeah, I definitely thought the brother was odd, but I don't know what the normal reaction should be when this type of news hits your mind, if you will. But I was listening to a radio show, and they actually spoke to the guy's neighbor, the perpetrator's neighbor, who was his direct neighbor for a little over a year, had a bunch of beers with him and that sort of thing. You know, didn't know a whole lot about him, but knew enough. And he said, and this was a former Iraq veteran that I'm talking about that called in. He said he couldn't perceive that this guy was even capable of pulling anything off like that, nor did he ever hear any type of political commentary or ill, if you will, from this man's mouth. So I find that interesting. I find out that there's video evidence that you can see another shooter from another floor of the Mandalay Bay. So, hey, thanks for that call, Alvin. Continue to chime in on the comments. And like I said, we're going to get that video posted on our Facebook page as quickly as possible.
All right. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate what you guys are doing. And, look forward to hearing from you guys again. Take it easy.
Absolutely. Take care. Blessings.
Thanks. That's a good point. Shout out to Alvin, twin bro. When you look at everything that's happened, I mean, tragedy after tragedy, it's just a never-ending vicious cycle. You see what I'm saying? But back to the bottom line, common denominator, it's in the DNA. It's in the DNA. Capitalism, racism, and violence. DNA of America. Now, Coach, to your point, the facts are still coming out, ladies and gentlemen. It hasn't even been 24 hours since the shooting.
Yes.
There were reports. There's multiple shooters. I have seen pictures of multiple windows being broken in the Mandalay Bay. Obviously, like we spoke earlier, it's difficult to break those windows in those high floor casinos.
Yes.
Maybe it was a team. Maybe it was multiple shooters. That's very possible. And I also read a report. The initial report was multiple shooters. Then all of a sudden it turned into just a single shooter or being reported to be shooting. So I'm like, in my head, I'm waiting for the report when something comes out that there were actually multiple shooters. Now, the fact that the news reports that the SWAT team only neutralized one suspect, maybe the other ones fled, maybe they weren't even there. I don't know. We're waiting for the facts. That's all I'm saying. Is more information is coming in, and you're getting a lot of candid individual reports with people taking pictures in video with their own phones and just putting it up. No news channel, no buffer. Because the news can filter certain things.
You're talking about radical transparency.
And that's also the benefit of technology and social media. They can send it to you straight. They only got time to filter it out like the media and mainstream news can do it. So I pay a little close attention to social media too and try to get live footage and reports.
As you're talking, let me see if I can pull that up where I got it from. Hold on.
Man, shout out to everybody that's joining in.
Keep rolling. I'm going to try to find it online.
That's fine. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in the roundtable. We really appreciate your guys' comments, thoughts. If you guys want to call in, 725-222-8144, share your thoughts on what has happened with this attack, terrorist attack, which is another point I want to bring up too, is this real bias in how they're labeling terrorists in this country. And I just want to be very clear.
Check this out. I don't know if you can see it on my phone, but I'm going to show you.
That's fourth play, not the 32nd.
I can't even see it.
One more time.
Let's listen to the people in the background, and I'm going to post this on the Facebook page.
That's fourth play, not the 32nd. One more time.
Okay, I can kind of see the light flashing.
The woman said, that's the fourth floor, not the 32nd. So there's video footage. It's coming out. And we're going to post it right after the show. But again, man, we need some major changes. I just don't know what they are. I agree with a lot of the points. No silencers, no fully automatic weapons, that sort of thing. But I think we just need an overhaul. We've said it many times, man. We just, as a nation, we need some therapy and healing, man. We've been damaged for so long. And, I'm at a loss for words, man, in terms of where we will be heading if we don't correct this thing. I got an 11-month-old daughter, and when she's my age, if she's blessed to live to be 39, what is the world going to look like then?
Right.
What is America going to look like? That's my concern. That's why I do this roundtable, man.
Right.
That's why we created HipHopSuccessTV, because we want it to be the change. Our slogan is the blueprint to mental success, not because myself, Phi's ideas, Bambino's ideas, because the ideas of the community, brilliant minds such as Roland, your brother, and many, many other people that tune in and support us each and every week. Shout out to you guys. You guys are heroes too. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wanted to touch on this one point I seen going on, like I mentioned before, is the labeling of terrorists in this country when it comes to the media. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, it's clear as day. I've seen so many reports of this man, Stephen Paddock, and they have not used the word terrorist. I don't know if anybody else has seen that footage last night, but that looked like some damn terrorism to me.
Without a doubt.
And I have not heard the word terrorist used after that man's name or before that man's name. Now, clearly, it's because he's a white man. Anytime it's anybody darker than a white man, it's automatically assumed gang activity, thug, or terrorist if they're Muslim, especially if they're Muslim. And that's just the bottom line. I don't know why that is. It's not right. I wish they know what they're doing. And that's part of the psychology. That's part of the programming and how they view white men who commit the majority of mass murders in this country. We're talking about, well, that's another disease we have going on in this country, is white men committing mass murder. Let's talk the facts, people. I'm keeping it 100 right now. That's what's happening. You talk about terrorist cells and ISIS threats and Al Qaeda, all of them, martyrs all the way over here. The FBI is doing a pretty good job in taking care of them. But for some reason, we can't plan and see these white men, whether they're, and I'm not trying to be racist here. This is the facts. They commit more mass murders than any other person of color in this country. That's a huge problem. And the media can't seem to say terrorist when it's a white person or white man committing the terrorist acts. But yet they come out with his name. I saw here, hold on, because I'm a man of facts. Let me bring up what they said. What was that article they said? Washington Post, Las Vegas. This is the title of the article. Las Vegas gunman, not terrorist, gunman. Stephen Paddock enjoyed gambling, country music, lived quiet life before massacre. Now you tell me if a Muslim or anybody darker than white committed this act, would they get anything dressed up like that? Be real, coach.
Come on, I'm always going to be real from my perspective.
Come on, man.
Absolutely not.
So I'm not trying to make this a long point. I just want to make it clear that here at HipHopSuccess.tv and the community here, we know exactly what's going on and see the bias and BS that's going on with the label failing to label terrorism for what it is and by whom it is. It's a white man terrorist, period. Let's stop deciding if they black or if they dark, brown, Muslim. All of a sudden they get the label. But when it's white men, they got the white picket fence in the suburban area, never thought it was coming, yada, yada, yada. And you can't put the word terrorism or terrorist anywhere around that. I see what's going on. I'm calling it out and I see it across the board.
Yeah, just like when you have protesters, certain groups, they'll label them as terrorists, right? And not one shot was fired.
Not one shot was fired. It's amazing. You know, I saw this one thing. It said you have a group of white men that commit a terrorist act, or they're just together. It's a potential group of lone wolves or something like that. The minute you have a group of black people chilling, whether they're going to do something or not, it's automatically gang activity. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always this negative connotation, but language matters. I know we're in the era of Donald Trump and the celebrity in chief who doesn't care about language.
See, now we're getting to something that I like to deal with. You just said language matters.
Language matters.
What is I was mentoring a kid yesterday, actually helping him with some speech therapy on a Sunday. And I think we might have another live caller.
Good.
No, that's not a live caller.
Okay. So we're talking about language matters, right? In the era we live in. And so,
but before I was distracted by that call, my point was language deals with programming, right? Just like anybody that's in the computer world, you deal with ones and zeros. Hold on. I'm on a live roundtable. Go ahead. It was a personal call. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Finish your talk.
No, I was just saying, now we're getting to the root cause of things. So when you're talking about how the white male is portrayed versus other groups are portrayed, what does that deal with? That deals with programming and perception, right? So if you have a group of people that essentially have the structure, they've designed the structure, it's only in their best interest. I'm not saying that it's right. It's only in their best interest to continue to do what they do until people like us call it out, or we, vote with our dollars or whatever we got to do that's going to, come out with some sort of radical change. Because I have a saying all the time. I say it to these youngsters. I'm too big of a cat to get chased up the tree by a kitten. So what I mean by that is all the propaganda and all the nonsense that I hear, I can dissect and filter through that BS. And I always get to the root cause. That's what I was taught and trained, to get to the root cause.
Yeah, it's simple programming. And
simple programming, yes, sir.
Think about it. The white power structure built all of this in order to protect itself. The way they program people to perceive how they even do violence. It's like, oh, they did all of that. The worst, well, apparently the worst mass shooting in American history. And this guy gets this kind of title on a newspaper. But this is time and time again. It could be the students that shot up Columbine. It could be that gunman that shot up all those people in that movie theater. It's always mental illness or the good parts of their rap sheet instead of just calling them a terrorist for what it is, because what they did were acts of terrorism. Last night was an act of terrorism, but yet we understand, especially people of color, we understand clearly that this is just a part of their programming to modify and control the perception of white people in this country when it comes to acts of terrorism. They don't want think about it. I mean, just like you mentioned, Coach, the word terrorism and terrorists, that is a loaded term. But apparently when it comes to white people, they don't want that associated with them, even if it's someone as bad as a Stephen Paddock.
Because again, psychologically speaking, words have attachments and agreements.
Yes.
To the mind. So they're not going to say anything that's going to have a negative connotation attachment to themselves. You get it?
Mm-hmm. And it's funny how people, and you always got them people, I know you're already seeing them, them people, oh, wait till all the facts come out before that. Hold on. Muslim people and people of color always get initially called terrorists when something happens. They don't even know the person's name yet. And you hear terrorist, there's a terrorist, whatever. It ain't even been 24 hours. They know where the dude is, the white dude, Stephen Paddock. They know who he is. They know how old he is. They know how many guns he had. They found his brother and all this stuff. And they haven't killed over 50 people, and they still haven't used the word terrorist. Give me a fucking break, man. Get the out of here with that, man. Seriously. We see what's going on here at HipHopSuccess.tv, us and the community. So, like I said, we are a community that looks to bring a higher consciousness to the hip hop community and the world. So you're not going to fool people like us around this round table and everyone that follows us and our high vibrational content. So we see right through that, man. But in closing, I want to thank everybody that's tuned in, chimed in, called in on this issue, our special roundtable. When will America take gun violence seriously? We talked on a lot of great topics, got a little passionate about certain things. You know, it's all love here. It's all constructive, everybody. Hey, freedom of speech is real here. Oh, who said that? Somebody said Michael Coble. Hey, bring that up, Coach. He said, once you call everyone a terrorist, no one is a terrorist. He has to have ideology to be a terrorist. I disagree because
I look at a terrorist as a person that uses unlawful violence and intimidations against a group of people. That's how I define a terrorist. That's pretty simple, right?
What? Yeah, absolutely. And what did he say? Michael, he said something else too. Can you bring that up?
White terrorists are Ted Kaczynski. Is that what he said?
Okay, that's just another name to the list. Okay, cool. But my point is, there is a perception problem with how the media labels people of color and Muslim people as opposed to white people. I'm not saying people of color and Muslims are not a part of terrorism. If they commit it, they commit it. I'll condemn them too. I'll call them out too. But I see a huge difference in how the media talks about and reports on terrorist acts when it comes to white people and when it comes to people of color, exclusively also the Muslim religion. Because anytime they do it, they don't need no facts. Oh man, they brown. Hold on. Oh man, terrorists. Like you're not going to get me with that. But Michael, I appreciate that comment though. I appreciate you bringing that view. But hey, I'll call terrorists and terrorism what it is anytime I see it. I don't need an ideology to know if they cause terror. I don't need no ideology associated with that. That was terror last night. He don't need no ideology for that.
It could be a group of gangbangers mugging a grandmother. They're terrorists.
Or a group of gangbangers repping they set and shooting out them damn windows. That's terrorism. It's not gang activity. It's terrorism. Period.
Hello. Period.
I mean, so, hey, thank you for doing that, for commenting. We really appreciate here at Hip Hop Success. Like I said, freedom of speech we are huge advocates of that. Anybody from any background or thought process can come through and voice their opinions. This is what the roundtable is for. Hold on. What did he say? He said, then everyone with a gun is a terrorist. That's false too, because there's plenty of gun advocates who are responsible and haven't done what Mr. terrorist Stephen Paddock committed last night. So I don't understand what Coach, do you have something for that?
No, I thought he was trolling when he said that.
He might be trolling.
I'm trying to get an emotional
response. Michael, we're trying to give you a chance.
Maybe you're not, bro. I mean, you could be just speaking your piece.
Yeah.
You're entitled to that, but I'm not even going to go there because I'm not going to disrespect his comments. But in closing, you were saying what now?
But in closing, I want to thank everyone for coming through the roundtable, building with us on this issue that has affected all of us, whether we like it or not. Again, HipHopSuccess.tv and its a community sends its condolences, thoughts, and prayers to the victims, the ones that lost their lives, as well as the ones fighting for their lives tonight and for the upcoming weeks and even months. We also want to give a special shout out to the first responders that took care of everyone there and the civilians that were heroes in that sense and saved their friends or even people that they didn't know, fellow citizens and Americans. There was a lot of heroism going on down there in the midst of that terror from that terrorist named Stephen Paddock. Like I said, this was an impromptu roundtable, a special one, but we wanted to facilitate this discussion to get everybody's thoughts, hear what's going on, as well as give ours. We'll be dropping another show later this week for the roundtable at our regularly scheduled time of Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. I am Master Phi, a co-founder of HipHopSuccess.tv. You can find me on all social media at MASTA_PHI. And Coach, where can they find you at?
They can find me at Coach Tony Brace, your hip hop business coach, on all social media at Coach Tony Brace. Before we wrap up, I want to say that anybody that's interested in donating to a fund, the local county commissioner. Hold on, I'm getting distracted here. Something just popped up in my ear. I'm gonna have to take this off my ear to say it. But essentially, there's a GoFundMe campaign. It's created by a county commissioner, Steve Sislak. So if you want to go ahead and donate to that, I don't have the link, but you can just type in Google GoFundMe campaign Clark County Commission and make a donation if it's possible.
Absolutely. Also, follow us on all social media at HipHopSuccess.tv, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Also, register on the website HipHopSuccess.tv. And also, for support, check out our Facebook merchandise page, the shop. You can pick up a hat, pick up some wristbands. We'll be loading up the hoodies soon enough. Hoodies we got here, snapbacks. Purchase some merchandise and definitely support us. I mean, this is a platform we're doing this for free. We are a for-profit business, but we also are a startup, and we want to build this community along with you guys. There is no HipHopSuccess.tv without you guys. It's not just the co-founders, and we appreciate every like, every share, every comment, every shout out, everything. We appreciate all of you so much. Thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. Please share this conversation in your respective networks all over social media. We had a great discussion here. All of you chimed in, and everyone should be a part of this discussion. So send it out and share it as much as you can. Like, comment, continue the discussion, and we will see you guys later this week. And I'm signing off as well as Coach, y'all.
Blessings. Peace.
Peace.